Carlos Alcaraz makes a decision for next season. Finishing the year as world number 1 remains the Merchant's priority. But also planning ahead for next season. And he has already confirmed his presence at Queen's, a tournament that always brings him luck. The tennis season is coming to an end and, although Carlos Alcaraz still has 2 major events ahead, the Merchant is already working with his team to plan next year. With the Davis Cup finals and the ATP finals still to be played, the player from El Palmar has already confirmed several dates on his schedule for next season. And one of them is the Queen's tournament in London. It's a tournament that always brings very good memories for Carlos, above all because he has been champion there twice and because every time he has played it, he has subsequently reached the Wimbledon final. The event is used by many as the warm-up for the British Major. Alcaraz played here for the first time in 2023, when he won the title, and weeks later also won Wimbledon. He returned in 2024, losing in the second round against Jack Draper, while in 2025 he lifted the trophy again after defeating Yuri Lehecka. Queen's is a very special tournament for me and one I look forward to every year. This year it was incredible to come back and win my second title here, Alcaraz emphasized. The men's tournament will take place from June 13 to 21, while the women's event will run from the 6th to the 14th, and Amanda Anisimova, the defending champion, has already confirmed her participation. Carlos Alcaraz's plan during the grass court season. Queen's, which has ATP 500 status, is one of the best tournaments to prepare for Wimbledon because the grass surface used there is very similar to that of the All England Club. In Alcaraz's case, he usually arrives in London a few days after playing Roland Garros, rents a house near the All England Club, and stays there for a month with the goal of winning both titles. Carlos Alcaraz will start the year facing Sinner. And to warm up for 2026, nothing better than the first clash between the 2 biggest names in world tennis. Spanish player Carlos Alcaraz and Italian Jannik Sinner will play an exhibition match in Incheon, South Korea, on January 10, 8 days before the start of the Australian Open, the first Grand Slam of the season. It will be the first time that Sinner and Alcaraz face each other in this Asian country. Usually, neither Alcaraz nor Sinner play tournaments prior to the Australian Open, preferring to use exhibition matches to prepare for the first major of the year. In Melbourne, Sinner will be defending his title. The title still to be decided in the ATP. At this point, only the year-end ranking remains to be decided. Sinner, with his title at the Paris Masters 1000, has taken the top spot from Alcaraz, but he will lose it again next Monday when the points from the 2024 ATP Finals are deducted. However, next Sunday the ATP Finals will begin in Turin, where Alcaraz will only need to win 3 matches to secure the year-end number 1 ranking for the second time in his career, equaling Bjorn Borg, Stefan Edberg, and Leighton Hewitt. Carlos Alcaraz is finishing his preparations in Murcia before flying to Turin this Wednesday for his 3rd consecutive participation in the ATP Finals, November 9 to 16. At stake will be the Masters title, which only Manolo Orantes and Alex Corretja have achieved for Spanish tennis, and the year-end number 1. Jannik Sinner has reclaimed the top spot in the entry list, but the ranking to watch is the 2025 race, where the Merchant leads Sinner by 1,050 points. That means Carlitos only needs 500 points to secure the top position in the men's circuit. In practice, that translates to winning 3 matches in the group stage, the round robin, or 2 group matches and a semi-final. Sinner, champion of the Paris Masters 1000 last Sunday, landed in Turin on Monday afternoon. Alcaraz will arrive Wednesday at noon, leave his luggage at the hotel, and, according to sources from Marca, will head to the Inalpai Arena for his first practice session. Alcaraz breaks the bank, receives the biggest bonus in tennis. A stumble in the form of an early exit in Paris doesn't undo what has otherwise been an outstanding 2025. That's the perspective that defines Carlos Alcaraz's great season, pending the outcome of the ATP Finals in Turin and the Davis Cup in Bologna. The Merchant has won Roland Garros and the US Open, reached the Wimbledon final, and claimed 3 Masters 1000 titles, Monte Carlo, Rome, and Cincinnati. It's precisely this Masters 1000 category that has boosted the player's bank account. At the end of the season, the ATP distributes $21 million among the 30 players who earned the most points in those tournaments, and Alcaraz, who won the most of them this year, is the biggest beneficiary. He will pocket $4.5 million, though a percentage must be deducted for each tournament he skipped, in his case, Toronto, Madrid, and Shanghai. However, since he performed media duties in Madrid, that deduction will be reduced. Roughly €3.1 million will go to Carlitos for having the most points, 3,420, in the Masters 1000 events. Sinner, despite winning Paris, will receive €2.3 million, behind the Mercian. It's worth noting that the ATP finals do not count toward this bonus. Alcaraz has also earned the bonus for having the most points in ATP 500 tournaments, which, though smaller than the Masters 1000 bonus, reaches $1 million. The Mercian won in Rotterdam, Queens, and Tokyo, and reached the final in Barcelona. Sinner won the last Masters 1000 of the year and regained the world number 1 ranking that Alcaraz had taken after winning his second US Open. However, Carlitos still has a chance to return to the top and finish the year as the world's best player. Reaching the semifinals in the ATP finals in Turin could be enough to overtake the Italian, who is defending 1,500 points as the reigning champion. Alcaraz, who only won one match there in 2024, is defending just 200 points, giving him several paths back to the throne. Sinner leads by 250 points, and Alcaraz needs to earn 500 in Turin to avoid depending on his rival's results. That translates to winning 3 matches in the group stage or possibly 2 in the group stage and then the semifinal. Meanwhile, Sinner would need to win the tournament undefeated. If he loses a match, he would have to hope that the Mercian doesn't win any. Serious warning from Ferrero to Alcaraz. After the early exit in Paris, Ferrero's silence didn't last long. According to sources close to the team, the coach didn't hesitate to point out that the issue wasn't physical or tactical, it was mental. Ferrero said that Alcaraz had lost his hunger in the key moments, something that once set him apart from everyone else. During the practice session after the tournament, the conversation was serious. He needed to change his mindset if he truly wanted to be the best again. Carlos, the difference between you and Sinner right now is in your head, he reportedly told him. Harsh words, but necessary ones. Ferrero knows firsthand what it means to stay at the top. He was world number 1 himself and understands that talent alone isn't enough when your rivals study you week after week. In Alcaraz's case, the coach pointed out that the young Mercian's energy tends to fade in moments of frustration. Sinner, by contrast, has learned to control his anxiety and stay calm even when matches get complicated. That mental maturity is what currently separates the two. Ferrero insisted, it's not enough to train your shots, you have to train your mind. The warning also came with some self-criticism. Ferrero admitted that Alcaraz's schedule had been intense, with little rest and too much media pressure. That's why, after Paris, he decided to reorganize the preparation plan: more active rest, fewer off-court commitments, and more consistent mental training. The goal is not just to win matches but to rediscover the essence of the player who amazed the world in 2022, the one who played without fear and enjoyed every point as if it were his first. Frederic Fontang, coach of Felix Auger-Aliassime, says Jannik has everything to reign in tennis in the coming years. Ahead of Carlos Alcaraz. Jannik Sinner has taken back the world number 1 ranking from Carlos Alcaraz and could finish the year on top. The coach of Felix Auger-Aliassime, Frederic Fontang, sees him as a better version of Djokovic. A huge compliment, considering Novak is the most decorated player in history. In an interview with L'Equipe, Fontang chooses the Italian ahead of Carlos Alcaraz, the two main stars of recent tournaments on the circuit. Both are superior for different reasons. Alcaraz brings variety to his game, he's very offensive and capable of doing many things. Sinner brings consistency, he said. About Sinner, he described him as a better version of Djokovic. His game is incredibly solid, at great speed and without wasting much energy. He's a better Djokovic. He's improved his serve, and his forehand is faster. Jannik and Carlos could meet again next week, possibly in the semifinals or the final of the ATP finals in Turin, where they might battle for that coveted number 1 ranking. However, they won't meet in the Davis Cup. The Italian has withdrawn from his national team, while Alcaraz will play for Spain, captained by David Ferrer. Jannik Sinner explains the changes he made since the US Open to regain the number 1 spot. Jannik Sinner has had 2 brilliant weeks during this European indoor hard-court swing, first winning the ATP 500 title in Vienna and then capturing the Masters 1000 crown in Paris, events that have confirmed his dominance and showcased his resilience despite some physical issues due to end-of-season fatigue. The 24-year-old Italian has been shining again since his loss in the US Open final against Carlos Alcaraz. In an interview after defeating Felix Auger-Aliassime in Paris, he revealed what he has changed or worked on in recent months. I'm not doing anything special, I just try to do what every other player does, try to improve. I put a lot of effort into it and try to step out of my comfort zone many times, especially in practice, to understand what aspects can help me for the future. Sometimes you don't play to win every point, you try to do something different. I try to play with the score, if I'm a break-up, I try to be more aggressive, he explained. Sinner said that finishing 2025 as number 1 wasn't his main goal and that it's not entirely in his hands. It's not only up to me, but I'm happy to be in this position. I knew the opportunity was there from the beginning of the week. However, I just try to give my best in every tournament I play, and Turin will be no different. The goal here was to maximize my potential day by day, and I've achieved that. Now it's time to recharge and get ready for a good week of tennis in Turin, Jannik Sinner concluded.